For centuries, they have been confused, misunderstood, even ridiculed for their humps. But what very few people know is that the camel and the dromedary are two completely different creatures. Today on Wild Animal World, we will explore in detail the differences between the Bactrian camel and the dromedary, from their anatomy to their survival in extreme climates, along with many fascinating facts that will keep you watching until the very end. At first glance, they may look very similar, large, imposing, with that classic hump on their back. But it only takes a few seconds to realize you're looking at two completely different animals. The dromedary, also known as the Arabian camel, has a single hump. It's tall, pointed, and rises like a tower over its back. Its body is slimmer and more streamlined, and its legs are long, perfect for covering kilometers over scorching sand without tiring. It's taller than the Bactrian, reaching up to 2.4 meters from the ground to the head, but also lighter, with an average weight of 400 to 600 kilos. By contrast, the Bactrian camel carries two humps. They are wider, rounder, and separated by a slight dip in the middle of its back. Its body is bulkier and heavier, capable of carrying up to 1,000 kilos, which makes it a true load-bearing machine. Its legs are shorter and stronger, ideal for moving over rocky, snowy, or rugged terrain. Although shorter than the dromedary, with an average height of 1.8 to 2 meters, it is much more robust. And that's not all. The dromedary has a short, light-colored coat, adapted to reflect sunlight and keep the body cool during the day. By contrast, the Bactrian camel is covered by a thick, woolly mane that protects it from cutting winds and sub-zero temperatures on the Central Asian steppes. If we look at their heads, there are differences too. The dromedary has a longer, narrower snout, ideal for searching for dry food among thorns and shrubs. The camel, for its part, has a shorter, broader snout, adapted to a completely different type of vegetation, tougher and more scattered. Even the ears and tail are different. The Bactrians are small and very furry, to conserve body heat. The dromedaries are more visible, less covered. And its tail, thinner, is better suited to the warm climate where it lives. Both have eyes protected by long eyelashes, nostrils that can close against dust, and cushioned feet that spread out so they don't sink into sand or snow. Although today they dominate scorching deserts or snowy mountains, the ancestors of camels and dromedaries were not born in Asia or Africa. The surprising thing is that their history begins in a completely different place, North America. About 40 million years ago, the camelid lineage emerged in what is now Canada and the northern United States. They evolved there for millions of years until, thanks to the land bridge of the Bering Strait, they migrated to Asia. It was there that their paths began to diverge. One branch moved toward the cold, harsh regions of Central Asia. The vast steppes of Mongolia, the Gobi Desert, and the mountains of northern China shaped what we now know as the Bactrian camel. This environment selected animals capable of withstanding winters down to minus 40 degrees Celsius, with strong winds, snow, and months of scarce food. Thus, they developed thick coats, robust bodies, and a physiology prepared to conserve energy and heat. The other branch migrated west and adapted to the dry, hot climate of the Middle East and North Africa. There, among dunes and temperatures that exceed 50 degrees Celsius, the dromedary evolved. To survive, its body became taller and slimmer, its coat thinned, and its internal system transformed into an efficient machine for conserving water and dissipating heat. The life cycle of these creatures begins as impressively as their adulthood. Both the Bactrian camel and the dromedary share a demanding start to life in an environment that doesn't forgive mistakes. A camel's pregnancy lasts between 12 and 14 months and usually results in a single calf. At the moment of birth, the mother remains standing. This means the newborn falls directly to the ground from a considerable height. But nature has accounted for this. Within minutes, the little one shakes itself, stands up, and begins to seek the warmth of its mother's body. This detail, which seems simple, is vital. The speed with which it stands is key to survival, since in the desert or the steppe, a weak newborn can become easy prey or be exposed to extreme cold or heat. In the case of the dromedary, the calves are born with a very short but soft coat that helps them regulate their body temperature. The environment awaiting them is arid, with intense sun during the day and cold nights, but no snow. By contrast, the Bactrian camel gives birth in the midst of the Mongolian or Chinese winter. Its young are born with a thick woolly coat, perfectly designed to withstand sub-zero temperatures from the very first moment. Even the humps of newborns are visibly soft. They look more like drooping bags. This is completely normal. Over the days, as they feed, those humps fill with fat and begin to take shape. During the first weeks, the calf depends entirely on its mother's milk, a rich, dense milk loaded with fats, antibodies, and calories needed to face a ruthless environment. After just a few days, the young already walk alongside their mother and integrate into the group, learning to recognize roots, water, and food. What's most astonishing is that, from birth, both animals are genetically programmed to endure. They already show tolerance to heat or cold, controlled thirst, and an incredible ability to adapt to the environment they were born into. For generations, most people have believed that camels store water in their humps, but that's just a myth. The truth is much more fascinating and far more useful for their survival. The humps of camels and dromedaries are made up mainly of fatty tissue. They are literally compact fat deposits gathered in one place for a very smart purpose: to serve as a reserve source of energy. When the animal has no access to food for several days, something common in environments where they can walk hundreds of kilometers without finding vegetation, its body begins to metabolize that fat. And in doing so, it not only gets energy, it also produces metabolic water. In other words, the chemical process of breaking down fat generates water as a byproduct. This allows them to survive for days or even weeks without eating or drinking, relying solely on the reserves in their hump. And that's far more efficient than carrying stored water directly. Liquid water would be lost quickly through evaporation or perspiration. But the humps also play a thermal role. By concentrating fat in one specific area of the body, the rest remains less insulated. This helps body heat dissipate more effectively, preventing the animal from overheating. In dromedaries, the single hump lets them keep a light, well-ventilated body, ideal for open deserts where heat radiates up from the ground. In Bactrian camels, the two humps distribute mass more evenly and offer a double thermal advantage, acting as natural insulation in regions of extreme cold. Another revealing detail: when the animal has used up much of its fat, the hump starts to droop, leaning to one side. It's not illness or weakness. It's simply a visual indicator that the animal is using its reserves. If camels and dromedaries look tough on the outside, on the inside they are a masterpiece of extreme biology. Their physiology is designed, in every detail, to withstand conditions that would be lethal for almost any other mammal. Let's start with the blood. The red blood cells of these animals have an oval, elastic shape, very different from the round shape typical in most mammals. Why? Because that shape allows them to circulate freely, even when the animal is dehydrated. They can expand by up to 240% without rupturing, which lets the blood keep flowing even when the body has lost large amounts of water. In fact, both the camel and the dromedary can tolerate a loss of up to 30% of their body weight in water without suffering permanent damage. To put it in perspective, humans would go into shock with a loss of just 10%. Then there are their kidneys and intestines. Both are designed to conserve every possible drop of water. The kidneys filter the blood with ultra efficiency, producing a very concentrated, almost pasty urine. Their intestines, for their part, extract every last molecule of water from food and generate feces so dry they hardly make a mess. Under extreme conditions, this system allows them to internally recycle the scant moisture they consume. But there's more. Their body temperature isn't constant like ours. It can vary from 34 to 41 degrees Celsius throughout the day. This range prevents the animal from sweating excessively, thereby conserving vital fluids. Instead of spending water to cool down, they allow their temperature to rise in a controlled way, shedding heat when the environment allows it. And to protect the brain from overheating, they have a unique cooling system, a heat exchanger in the nasal cavity, where the inhaled air cools the blood heading to the brain. This ensures that even if the body heats up, the mind stays operational. The dromedary and the Bactrian camel don't just endure, they dominate the most extreme climates on Earth. Let's start with the dromedary, lord of the desert. It can withstand temperatures that exceed 50 degrees Celsius under an unforgiving sun, with no shade and no rest. How does it do it? Thanks to several key adaptations. Its tall, slender body facilitates air circulation. Its light-colored coat reflects solar radiation, and its internal temperature, as we've seen, can fluctuate without the need to sweat. During the day, its body warms up slowly, storing heat instead of dissipating it through evaporation. At night, when temperatures drop sharply, it releases that heat gradually. What's more, its nostrils act like true hot air filters. The air it breathes is cooled before reaching the lungs, and on exhalation, some of the moisture is recovered, preventing water loss through breathing. Now let's go to the other extreme. The Bactrian camel survives on the frigid steppes of Central Asia, where winter temperatures fall below -40 degrees. It lives in regions battered by winds of up to 100 kilometers per hour, with no natural shelter. Its main defense is its coat, a double layer of thick insulating hair that can reach 25 centimeters in length in winter. This natural overcoat protects it from the icy wind and preserves body heat like a living thermal barrier. In conditions of extreme cold, the Bactrian camel reduces its metabolic activity, remains still for long periods, and uses its humps as a constant source of heat and energy. After millions of years of adaptation, camels and dromedaries haven't just survived. They've spread across vast regions of the planet, shaping cultures, ecosystems, and ways of life. The dromedary, with a single hump, is the most numerous. Today, it lives mainly in North Africa, the Middle East, South Asia, and some regions of the Horn of Africa. They're an essential part of daily life in countries like Morocco, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and India. But here's a fact few people know. Outside these traditional regions, there's a wild population of dromedaries in Australia. They were introduced by European settlers in the 19th century to explore the country's interior, thanks to their endurance and ability to cross great distances without water. Over time, they escaped or were released. And today, it's estimated that more than 1 million dromedaries live free in the Australian desert, where they are considered an invasive species. The case of the Bactrian camel is very different. This two-humped species has a much more restricted distribution. It lives mainly in the cold steppes and deserts of Mongolia, northern China, Kazakhstan, and some remote parts of Iran and Afghanistan. It is less common and more vulnerable. And then there's its forgotten relative, the wild Bactrian camel, known scientifically as Camelus ferus. Unlike the domesticated camel, this wild species is genetically distinct and is critically endangered. It's estimated that fewer than 1,000 individuals remain in the wild, mainly in remote areas of the Gobi Desert in Mongolia and China. They are one of the last large, undomesticated wild mammals still living on the planet. For centuries, they have been fundamental to the development of entire civilizations. Their impact goes far beyond being simple pack animals. They are ecological and cultural engines, and their bond with humans is as ancient as it is powerful. Let's start with their ecological role. In arid ecosystems, these animals play a key part as seed dispersers. Their diet includes shrubs, branches, bark, and even thorny plants. As they travel long distances, they carry seeds in their digestive system and deposit them in new places, helping vegetation regenerate in degraded lands. What's more, their soft footsteps, thanks to their wide, cushioned feet, don't compact or erode the soil like other domestic animals do. They are silent walkers that have a lighter impact on the ecosystem. But their most visible influence is on human life. In many regions of the world, the camel or the dromedary means survival. They are multifunctional animals. Their milk is nutritious, rich in fats, minerals, and antimicrobial compounds. In desert areas, camel milk is often the only regular source of food and water. Their meat, although less consumed than that of other animals, is lean and slow to spoil. Their dried dung is used as fuel in regions without access to firewood. Their urine has even been used in traditional medicine. And of course, there's their role as a means of transportation. Throughout history, entire caravans have crossed continents thanks to these animals. Along the Silk Road, in African caravans, in explorations of Australia's interior, the camel has been the only reliable companion when everything else failed. They also carry deep symbolic weight. In many cultures, the camel represents patience, endurance, and nobility. They take part in traditional races, religious festivals, and tribal rites. In countries like Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates, there are camel beauty contests with specimens valued at millions of dollars. After learning about their anatomy, their history, and their impact, it's time to look at those surprising details, the curiosities few imagine, which make camels and dromedaries even more extraordinary. First, the record drink. A dehydrated dromedary can drink up to 120 liters of water in under 10 minutes. That's the equivalent of emptying a car's fuel tank, but into a single animal's body. The most surprising part, its stomach can handle it without bursting, thanks to a specialized mucus lining that allows gradual, safe expansion. Second, the courtship ritual. During the mating season, The male dromedary inflates a structure called the dula, a kind of fleshy sac that protrudes from the mouth like a giant pink tongue. While displaying it, he emits guttural sounds, produces thick foam, and urinates over his body to attract the female. A spectacle as strange as it is effective. Third, controlled hybridization. In Central Asia, breeders cross dromedaries with Bactrian camels to obtain animals called tulus. The result is a large hybrid, with the strength of the Bactrian and the thermal endurance of the dromedary. These animals are used as pack beasts in extreme climates and even in competitions. Fourth, medicinal milk. Beyond its nutritional value, camel milk contains bioactive compounds that are being researched for their benefits against diseases such as diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and even certain types of cancer. In Bedouin communities, this milk has been used for centuries as a natural remedy. Fifth, long, vital breath. These animals have a surprising life expectancy. With proper care, they can live between 40 and 50 years, which makes them lifelong companions for the nomadic families who depend on them. And sixth, their role in military history. During World War II, the British Army used camel-mounted patrols in North Africa, taking advantage of their mobility and their ability to operate without the need for water or roads. We've traveled thousands of years in just a few minutes, from prehistoric origins in North America to the dunes of the Sahara and the snows of Mongolia. From the mysteries of their humps to their quiet role in the history of humankind. So if this journey surprised you, taught you something new, or simply made you see these animals in a different light, I invite you to share it. Give it a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. What impacted you the most? The science, their history, or their quiet intelligence? Thank you for joining us and for continuing to explore with us everything the world still has yet to reveal. See you next time.